In Black Pine, where pines loomed like sentinels over fog-choked trails, the Carter cabin glowed with quiet life before June 3rd, 2024. Ely Carter, 19, grease-stained from his mechanic gig, sprawled on the porch. Ruby, 14, and wild with light, sketching him under the fading sun. "Your hands are motor oil monsters," she laughed, pencil flying, red sneakers kicking the steps. Max, their German shepherd, sprawled between, gnawing a stick. "Feed him tonight, Eli. I did it yesterday," she teased. "He loves you more," he grinned, Max's tail thumping. Later, they dragged their dad's telescope to the ridge, Ruby pointing. "They're serious! Max's twin!" Eli squinted. A dot, earning her elbow. "Nights, old mister!" Hensley, their grizzled neighbor who'd stepped in after their mom's cancer death 3 years back, hobbled over, muttering, "Don't let her roam that forest alone, Eli. It's got teeth." Eli'd nod, half listening, Ruby rolling her eyes. "I've got Max, Hensley." Her diary, tucked under her bed, caught it all. May 20th, Max stole my sandwich again. Eli thinks he only listens to me. Maybe he's right. If I get lost, Max'll find me. He knows where my star bracelet is. That dusk, Ruby slipped out with Max, chasing a sketch that had fluttered into the wind. A birthday surprise for Eli, her voice lilting, back before dark. Eli watched her red sneaker flash, the wood swallowing her laugh. Hours later, Max staggered back, fur matted, Ruby's sneaker in his jaws, laces torn, a rusted pocket knife beside it, etched R.C. Her initials, Eli's gift. His gut dropped. "Where's Ruby, Max?" The dog stared, whining. On April 15th, 2025, Eli stood by the forest's edge, Max at his side, the fines bagged at the sheriff's. Once a mechanic, now a ghost. He'd sold his truck, quit, lived off scraps, tethered to a dog who wouldn't quit. 10 months ago, Ruby's absence shattered Eli. Their mom gone, Ruby's star talk and sketches kept him steady. That night, he paced the porch, searched till dawn, flashlight cutting fog, shouting till his throat burned. Sheriff Tate's team swept trails, found only Max. Eli gripped his collar. "Where is she?" First week, he plastered Black Pine with flyers, Ruby's grin on every pole, snapping at Tate. "She's out there!" Volunteers scoured, voices fading. Week 2, they left. "Sorry, kid." Eli alone, boots pounding, Max ahead. A month in, he slept in his car by the path, windows fogged, waking to Max's nudge. Nights by a fire, he'd mutter. "You'd say, 'Keep going, Rubes.'" Max's eyes glinting. Hensley'd limp by. "She's gone, son, let it rest." But Eli shook him off. Townsfolk whispered, "He's lost it." My Max kept nosing the ridge. Eli trailed. Max was his compass. Mornings, he'd bolt. Eli stumbling after, boots crunching. Evenings, he'd curl by the door, ears up. That April morning, mist thick, Max tore ahead, barking, stopping at the ridge. He poured a route, Eli unearthing Ruby's jacket scrap, red and snagged. "What's this, boy?" Max's eyes locked on the trees. That night, he paced, growling at the door. A puppy tick from storms. Eli called Tate. "Max found something?" "Huh?" Black Pine hummed, loggers rumbling, kids biking, but Max's return stood out. Shoe, knife, shred. Tate sighed. Coincidence. Eli's journal filled, desperation gnawing. He'd lost Ruby. Max too, felt it in his frame. Nights, he'd flip her sketches. Pines, Max, him with goofy grins, her voice echoing, "Terrible model, Eli." Her diary whispered, June 1st, drew Eli a surprise, gonna hide it for his birthday. One damp evening, Max bolted deeper, barking hoarse, stopping at an oak. Eli caught a glint, Ruby's star bracelet. Her yelp rang. Like the sky! False leads taunted. Max once hit an old teen camp. Cans and ash. No Ruby. Another day, a mud-caked doll. Not hers. A gray-eyed stranger lingered by the trail, vanishing when Eli shouted, suspicion fading. By dawn, he dialed Tate. Max knows. We're going in. They trekked past the ridge. Max leading, Tate and Voss trailing, radios crackling. Max halted at a creek, pawing mud. Ruby's hair clip, purple, then a sketch shred. Her pines. Her tees flashed. Keeps my bangs out. Tate bagged them. Old. Eli's jaw clenched. Not to him. Dev Voss snorted. Detective dog? Max growled, circling a boulder, barking at a hollow. Eli's flashlight shook, chest tight, her laugh ringing. Better than your stick figures. He'd locked that night in guilt. She's close, he said. Keep going. Tate radioed. Stuff by the creek. Voss scoffed. Trash. Check it, Eli snapped. Max paced the cabin, whining, eyes darting. Eli couldn't sleep, bracelet pleading. He drowned Ruby in silence, her light his fault. Max's wine cut. Morning, Eli leashed him. Back at it? Tate hit the creek, boots sinking, Voss smirking. Max led deeper, halting at a ravine, pouring a thicket. Ruby's journal, ink smudged. June 3rd, lost trail. Max ran, heard something, then her backpack, frayed. Eli's throat closed. She'd been scared. Voss grunted. Anyone's... Her handwriting, Eli snapped. Max growled, circling a cave mouth, barking at a hollow. Eli's flashlight pierced, chest buckling, her laugh flashing. Max carries my snacks. Tate radioed. Collapse mine shaft. Back up now. A forensic swarmed, rain pelting, mud slicking boots. Tate bickered with the crew. What if it's not her? Eli growled. He knows! Rope strained. Eli insisted. I'm going down. He slid into the shaft. Boots slipping, flashlight catching a scratched stone. See. A crumpled note in a can. Max. Find Eli. Claw marks where Max had scrabbled, and her sketch on the wall. Pines under stars. His sob broke. You fought? Tate's voice fell. Bones, small, fresh. Eli sank, a raw howl tearing out. Ruby, no. Her giggle flickered, gone. Back at the cabin, Eli brewed tea, hands shaky, replaying that dusk. Be quick, he'd said, lost her. Max nudged him toward the door. He hadn't come to find, but Max did. Noon, Tate confirmed. DNA matches. She fell, survived a bit, couldn't climb. Eli's knees gave, Max steady. He'd lost his sister, Mom, himself. Max pulled him from bottles, nose on hand till dawn. Now, he'd led him here. That evening, Max didn't run. Eli stepped out, heart heavy. Hensley approached, gray-eyed, dropping a sketch, Ruby's last, pines under stars. Weather tore up the woods, stumbled on this. Think the wind brought her back, he said. Rough, Max whined, nosing him. Eli nodded, trembling. She'd want you to have it. Hensley paused. Dog knew her till the end. Eli whispered, tears falling. He did. Months later, Eli walked the ridge, Max beside him, a gray shadow in Black Pine's dusk. Tragedy settled, then lifted. He'd fixed her sketch to the wall, started trail talks. Here's where her bracelet turned up, showing kids her stars on his wrist. He built Ruby's pack, a shelter, Max its quiet star, kids petting him. He's the hero. The Gazette ran it. Shepherd's clues solved 10-month mystery. Flowers piled by the shaft. A plaque rose. For Ruby, found by Max. Black Pine rallied. Trails renamed Ruby's Paths. Max a legend guiding lost hikers. One dusk, Eli climbed the ridge. Max trailing, her final sketch in hand. He set it atop the hill, wind rustling it soft, while Max pawed the earth, burying her old chew toy beside, a bone-shaped rubber thing she'd squeaked till it broke. Eli knelt, voice low. "You're free now, Rubes. We both are—" "And he really found you." Max's eyes caught the stars, fierce and true, a keeper of lost light. "You knew, didn't you?" he murmured. "All this time you carried her for me?" So, viewers, sometimes they return with more than you see. Sometimes they're guiding you home.